All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our webinar presentation today. My name is Gareth Dyke, and I'm presenting today communication with editors, communication with peer reviewers, communication throughout the publication cycle. And this is a presentation brought to you by Bentham Science. I hope that you can hear me. I hope that you can hear the audio, and I hope that you can see the slides. This is a live event, so you can ask questions in the webinar chat box. You can type them into the chat box anytime during the presentation. We'll certainly have some time at the end of our session today to answer any of your questions. I will just talk a little bit for a few minutes in order to enable more people to join us. I see that we have colleagues joining our presentation today from all over the world, so it's fantastic, and thank you so much for being here with us. It's just 3 minutes past the hour, so let's just wait for one more minute before we get started. My name is Gareth. Once again, this is a presentation brought to you today by Bentham Science Publishers. If you are unsure about Bentham Science Publishers, then jump on over to eurekaselect.net. I'll put that into the chat box for you so that you can go and check out the Bentham Science Journal offering, a major international publisher of both journals, traditional journals, as well as open access journals and ebooks. And we're going to talk today a little bit in some detail about what you can do as an author, as a submitting author, to increase your chances of getting your work successfully published in your target journal by communicating effectively during the publication process. My name is Gareth Dyke. As I already mentioned, I worked for a number of years in Ireland, in the UK, in Southampton, now in Hungary. I'm an editor working for a big international journal published by Taylor and Francis called Historical Biology. I also work for a number of companies, most often these days, in addition to Bentham Science Publishers, for a company called Edance. I'll put some more information about Edance into the chat box so that you can have a look at that. If you're interested in learning more about what we do, we provide editing services, we provide researcher support services. Anyway, the point of this is that I have lots of experience, both as a researcher. I've published myself almost 300 academic papers, as well as doing training sessions like this one, and editing and managing journals from the perspective of both peer reviewers and editors. So why are we gonna talk today about what we're gonna talk about? Communication during the publication cycle. You're probably wondering, what's the point of listening to this presentation? Well, we're gonna talk today about two related areas: the framework and the stages of the publishing cycle, how you can communicate more effectively with different editors, reviewers at different stages of the publication cycle, as well as some tips and tricks for good communication. And in order to illustrate to you what good communication looks like when talking to journal editors, when talking to peer reviewers, I will, of course, also show you some examples of bad communication, how you can speed up your paper's route to success by communicating effectively with editors and peer reviewers during the publishing cycle. Here is the academic publishing cycle. We all go round this hamster wheel all the time: ideas, funding, data collection, journal selection, paper writing, submission, peer review, and publication. And then the circle continues. It goes round and around again. Some of the key areas that we hope to be able to help you with in this session today around submission and around peer review and publication. Stages 6 and stage 7, where you have to go in and you have to actually communicate with editors and with those peer reviewers about your articles. If you need help with writing, if you need help with journal selection, I will give you tips and tricks about those in other webinar presentations in this series. Now, as you're well aware, English academic communication, very, 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 very important if we are to be successful as researchers, getting our work published and steered into those international journals. Dear sir, many thanks for asking whether we would like to publish your paper. The paper's good and original, but unfortunately we are simply not willing to publish it. The trouble is the good bits were not original and the original bits were not good. We've all gotten letters like this from editors. This, of course, is a made-up example, but you get the message. How are you going to be effective communicating, talking about your work when you make those submissions and when you respond to peer review? Now, the first thing to touch on in our presentation today is, of course, that editors and you, it's the cycle that we have to go into as researchers managing the process. Who will you be talking to? And in English, the word editor can actually refer to a number of different individuals, a number of different people in the process. You might be talking to a managing editor who may not have all that much to do with the journal. They may oversee a portfolio of journals. They may be dealing with a range of different output from a big publishing company. You may be dealing with an academic editor. Now, of course, these are the people like me at my journal, Historical Biology. These are the people who are controlling the journal content. They are the people who are selecting the peer reviewers. They're the people, often working academics like you, like me, doing the work as a part-time role. They may not be getting paid for it. They may just be providing that service as part of their professional work. So they've got a deep subject understanding, but they're often very, very busy. And so how we communicate with them can be very important to our paper's success in the process. And then, of course, there's also those language editors. I've worked as a language editor at Edance. We have lots of language editors who work with us. They are people who work on the language. They are people who work on editing the language. So managing editors, academic editors, and language editors could be the people that you end up interacting with when you make your submissions. Now, having said that, of course, the first thing to think about before you write your next paper is journal selection. Very important step in the communication process, because often successful researchers, people publishing their work in leading international journals, are making journal selection before they begin the writing process. They think about their target journals before writing. They think about their research results. They think, how significant is this particular study? Can I get it published in a big international journal, perhaps one of the Bentham Science journals? Let's see. So before starting to write, have a think about your target journal. And this is important because every journal is different. What kind of article you're going to be writing for a particular journal will depend upon that journal's aims and scope. Might be longer, might be shorter, might be targeted in a different way. And how to make journal selection? Well, one of the key things to do is to talk to people, communicate with others, communicate with your colleagues, and make those pre-submission inquiries. So here's two things that we've identified already in our training today that not a lot of academics actually do. Not a lot of academics think about their target journal choice before they begin the writing process. And that's important. That can dramatically speed up things for you as an academic, and also communicating at the journal selection stage, talking to others, talking to colleagues, making pre-submission inquiries, writing to journal editors about your results and asking them, would those results be appropriate for potential publication, for potential peer review, in that particular outlet can be something that you can do to speed up your publication experience.